Hello everyone from New Era Field, the site of where the Bills just dropped perhaps their most gut-wrenching loss of the season. That's really saying something considering how a lot of the other losses have gone this year. The Bills falling in overtime 34-31 to the Miami Dolphins, a game in which they allowed a 200-yard rusher for the third time this season, and B, that 200-yard rusher happened to be the same guy from earlier in the season, Jay Ajayi, and then C, just some really head-scratching coaching decisions that led them to this point. So the Bills, I mean, what more can you say? From a defensive perspective, they just really let the team down, and it's been that way through the majority of the season. You know, we've heard a lot about Rex Ryan saying how this defense is better, how they're going to be better than what they were last year, and all we've seen is a defense that has regressed, that has given up more yardage, and really just not lived up to the hype that Rex Ryan has built for them all year, all off-season, and all season long. And when it mattered most, they couldn't step up. And going right along those same lines with the coaching decisions, I mean, late in the game, the decision, threefold really. First off, only having 10 men out on the field when the Dolphins were trying to kick the field goal at the end of the game to force it into overtime. Yes, they were trying to call a timeout, but still, you should have presence of mind to know that you have 11 guys out on the field. And this was a theme because it happened again later in the game. But before it happened, the Bills went through and it seemed like their offense was really humming. We'll get into that in just a second. But the offense, rather than giving them a shot to potentially win the game, with 4:09 left to play, the Bills made a decision to punt the ball with only that much time in overtime. Now, mind you, if this was any other game in the regular season, probably wouldn't have mattered as much as it did, that decision right there. But knowing the situation, knowing the game, knowing the season, and really just knowing the situation of what your team is trying to get accomplished, Rex Ryan needed a victory for the Buffalo Bills to stay alive in playoff contention. Even though their hopes were slim, he needed a victory, not a tie, not a loss, needed a win, and he decides to punt the ball with just over 4 minutes to play. To me, it's just one of the worst game day decisions I've seen, and that's really saying something because I've seen some bad ones here in Buffalo for the 7 years that I've been covering this team. So that decision right there underscored the rest of the game. I mean, it really took away a solid offensive performance. And then, I mean, it's almost as though that kind of sealed his fate because right as soon as Miami got the ball, Jay Ajayi rushes it down the field for a 57-yard gain, a play in which the Bills only had 10 players on the field because, get this, Rex Ryan didn't know that Stephon Gilmore was still in concussion protocol and he expected him to be on the field. And Rex actually said that. He admitted it after the game. So to me, it's just, it all leads us to one conclusion. I mean, we're going to be talking about this through the next day, throughout the next hours, maybe throughout the next week if no decision comes. But whether or not Rex Ryan keeps his job over really an implosion late in the overtime sequence, and that's kind of been a series of events that we've seen happen for the Bills really through the final half of the season here. So the Bills, I mean, they ruined a great offensive performance. Tyrod Taylor had one of his best games as a Buffalo Bills player. LaShawn McCoy had another 100-yard day to add to just an impeccable season. Sammy Watkins got going. Charles Clay had another great day for the Buffalo Bills. It seemed like Anthony Lynn, with the exception of that reverse play to Reggie Bush late in the game, all in all, this offense really came to play, and it seemed like they were just firing on all cylinders. And again, it went all for naught because of A, the defensive performance, poor tackling, B, because of Rex Ryan's devout faith in his defense, which has underperformed for most of the season, and then C, his game day decision making. I mean, this is what has done the Bills in, and it might be what does Rex Ryan's tenure with the Buffalo Bills in as the head coach of the team. So it's going to be a very interesting next few days, but we'll see how it all kind of plays out. So we'll talk to you guys next time. For now, I'm Joe Biscaglia in Orchard Park. See you later.